The National Youth Development Agency has come under fire from Action SA's Youth Advisory Council. The council has given Minister in the Presidency responsible for youth, Maite Nkoana-Mashabane, until June to replace the agency. Action SA accuses the NYDA of benefiting only those closely aligned to the ANC and is demanding an audit of the agency's funding of youth-owned businesses. For more on the story, we're joined by Sabelo Chafulu. He is a member of Action SA's Youth Advisory Council. He joins us in studio. Good morning. Thank you for coming in. We're also in a conversation with CEO of the NYDA, Wasim Karim. To both our guests, a very good morning to you. I'm going to begin the discussion in studio this morning, Sabelo, and talk to you about, we've spoken a number of times to the NYDA, specifically to its chair, Sfiso Mtweni, who's waxed lyrical about the important measures that the NYDA has put in place year after year to ensure that young businesses, young entrepreneurs have the support that they need. You don't agree that this is an important mechanism?
It's not that we don't agree that there have been attempts by the NYDA through its respective boards over the years and through its administrators, such as the CEO, Mr. Karim. That's not the crux of our complaints. The crux of our complaint is the fact that if any of these interventions were as successful as they purport them to be, young people in South Africa would not be struggling the way they are. You would not have a situation where we have youth unemployment of over 60%. You would not have a situation where even the NYDA, when it does its own funding of young people in their businesses and what have you, be it in terms of loans or grants or what have you, they would not average about 6,500 rand between the year 2009 until 2018-19. That would not be the case. In fact, young people, and not just young people in South Africa, but even the broader, citizenry, would be in a much better place. We have super skyrocketed unemployment. And these things don't just affect young people, they affect everyone in the country. Young people are just the most pressed by them. Black young people specifically, and black women young people even more directly. So it doesn't help us to debate about whether or not one or two interventions have worked. It's the whole scope of things. And the very fact that you have, all manner of government departments, I can guarantee you we can walk over now, we can go over to Pretoria and go over to each head office. Each of them has a youth directorate there. And so the advancements that have been made by young people in our country are not because of the NYDA. They're in spite of the NYDA. And they're in spite of everything that has not been effective in their development. Young people have had to fight for a lot more than they ordinarily should have, because they have such an agency. If this agency was functioning the way it should, we would be in a many times better place.
All right, let's bring the agency's Wasim Karim, the NYDA CEO, into the discussion now. Wasim, you've of course heard the comments from Action SA's Youth Council here in studio. What's your response?
Yeah, thank you very much, Michelle, and good morning to yourself and Chalufu and all the viewers. So I think it's a very important discussion that we're having this morning, right? And I think it's critical for the development of younger people. But I think, unfortunately, Action SA is not really helping the conversation move forward with what I would call more political stunts than anything else. Yeah. For example, I would not have been engaged by Action SA nor anybody else in the NYDA regarding these concerns or developments, And equally, I think if we look at government, there's a recognition within government that the NYDA is not solely responsible for youth development. Rather, the NYDA is a coordinator of youth development and an implementation for youth development in the country. Now, with that being said, there's been numerous mechanisms that have been put in place, and government in the sixth administration has said that the NYDA should be retained and should be strengthened and supported. And indeed, there's a great deal of support that is coming from government in that way. Now let me just give you some examples of why I don't believe the Action SA approach is correct. Yeah? For example, part of the strengthening measures of the NYDA was legislative amendments of the NYDA Act, recognizing that there are sufficient flaws in the Act that need to be corrected. So I'd like to pose to Mr. Chalufu whether in that process of amending the NYDA Act, Action SA actually made submissions and put its views forward on behalf of young people or the young people that it represents. Equally, there's another legislative process called the National Youth Policy Review, which was recently finalized together with that integrated youth development strategy, which cuts across numerous sectors of government, civil society, the private sector. I saw no views of Action SA being put forward within those legislative processes, putting forward the views of young people so that these can be collated and put together. And that's why I'll refer that these are just mere political stunts from a party trying to gain credibility in an election.
Sabelo, I'm going to let you come in there. Yeah.
And that's good. Thank you very much. You know, Michelle, I think I purposely didn't bring up the fact that, in actual fact, in this morning's discussion, it is not proper for the CEO of the NYDA to be the one engaging us, engaging your viewers on these matters. This matter is beyond his level. This is a matter of policy from the government side, from the leadership side, and he is an official of the agency. We know that right now, the Act, as it currently stands, provides him some power that in the event maybe there is no board that is appointed, he has, because of his position as CEO, he has, certain powers, delegated to him. Mm-hmm. But the conversation right now should be between yourself, us, and the ministry. Mm-hmm. The CEO has no role to play in this discussion. It's great that he is here. I mean, now that he is here. But the fact is, this should be between us and the minister, because we have written to the minister. It is the minister who must table a bill before Parliament seeking the dissolution of the NYDA, assuming she agrees with us. It is the minister who must take that to Cabinet and say, Cabinet, look, we have these views, and we are in agreement with them. If she is. If she's not, then she's more than welcome to ignore us, and she's more than welcome to take the counter-progressive position of the CEO as it currently stands. But the fact is, he's not empowered to do that.
So let's do this.
He can speak in defense.
Can I come in there for a second,
No, just hold on, Mr. Karim. He can speak in defense of the agency more generally, But right now, this discussion is actually beyond his level.
Let's do this then. Let's talk about the budget of the NYDA for 2020-2021, standing at 545 million rand. What was done with that money? And I'm not talking, as Sabelo mentioned just a few moments ago, about one or two businesses that were invested in, one or two young people that were invested in and are doing well in their respective businesses, let's say. But give us the overall success of the NYDA and why, indeed, in your view, it is an important agency that should not be dissolved.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Before I come in on the budget, I'm going to answer your question. All Sabelo is doing is deflecting. Yeah. I asked him a specific question about whether he contributed to the legislative amendment, whereby the Action SA could have put their views forward, right? And they didn't. They know they did not, right?
Okay,
so they're not willing
to participate in democratic
process. No, let me finish. I'll let you finish, right? So let's be clear. And I wanted to put it on record that they did not make submissions because they don't like following democratic process. Let's talk about the budget of the NYDA, right? So let's speak now, as in the year of COVID, what the NYDA did to assist young people from our level at implementation plus coordination. Yeah? More than 1,000 young entrepreneurs helped with relief during COVID-19 pandemic. More than 1,200 young businesses helped with startup finance in a pandemic to help them grow their businesses when they were struggling. Yeah? More than 6,000 young people placed in available job opportunities. More than 20,000 young people trained online and in person, right? And that's at our level on a small budget at a cost per job created lower than anybody else can create in this country. Let's talk about bigger, right? Let's talk about the processes that the NYDA plays in from a coordination perspective for young people. NYDA helps to design the social distress relief grant of what we know 2 million out of the 5 million people benefiting are young people. 300,000 young people placed as teachers' assistants and general assistants, the biggest public employment program South Africa has ever launched, done in 30 days done through technological solutions to help support the transition of young people. More than 75,000 small-scale agricultural farmers supported 2,000 young agricultural graduates helped us do the verification for that. 75,000 ECD practitioners assisted, many of them young people, about 50% of them young people. I can go on and on. There was support to the through the Department of Forestry and Fisheries. There was support to community health work, many young people as well. So close to 600,000 opportunities in the employment stimulus that were provided, mainly young people. And NYDA played a role in coordinating the rollout of that entire stimulus. Phase 1 ended in March. We're now moving into phase 2, and there'll be numerous more opportunities for young people to benefit. So that's just a breakdown of some of the really big numbers that the NYDA is engaged in.
I mean, the numbers look really good.
If Mr. Karim was not here masquerading as an attempt to be a politician, he would know that, in fact, we have made our contributions. We might not have made our contributions in the way that he would prefer, but we have said, and we have said in very clear terms, that it's not just that we want the NYDA dissolved for the sake of dissolution in and of itself. If Mr. Karim would actually pay attention and not just, listen to, what the politicians are saying and then mouth it off on his own, we have said that it must be dissolved, number one. Number two, we've said a new mechanism must be developed, must be established for the benefit of young people, for the development of young people. So we are not saying that it must just be dissolved and that must be the end, and young people must see to finish thereafter. But because he's here attempting to get deployed into some ministerial portfolio, he's here now saying that no, Action SA does not subscribe to democratic principles. That is deeply offensive, not just to Action SA, but it's deeply offensive to the millions of young people who are unemployed, the millions of young people who in fact have not received sufficient support even from the NYDA. Mr. Karim should be well aware that, in fact, many young people have gone to the NYDA with their business proposals. They've requested support in a variety of forms, be it in terms of, business loans, investment, or in non-financial support.
You're not impressed by the numbers he's just thrown out?
We cannot be impressed by a few thousand young people being supported by them. Whether it's 10,000 or 20,000, it's for those 10,000 who benefit, great. But what about the hundreds of thousands others? The fact that the NYDA, in fact, has probably one of the smallest budgets of any government, agency, yes. And it's not just the agency itself. Even the department in which the NYDA is housed is also a minuscule little thing, sitting in the corner of Arcadia somewhere. So my point is not that whatever they have attempted has not benefited some people. Yep. What we're saying is that it has not gone far enough. And it hasn't gone far enough because it has been captured throughout this process by the ANC's Graduate School of Corruption, the ANC Youth League. And the ANC-led government has allowed them that space. They've said, here, go and sit in the corner, go and play by yourselves. And thus then, when he now tells us that, no, we have placed people in internships and what, it's not internships we want. Young people need jobs. How is that a difficult thing to understand? Young people need jobs. Young people need, if not jobs themselves, then they need support in starting their businesses. The fact that in the township economy right now, we have so many people who are struggling. He can't come here and be like, no, the Action SA is being disingenuous. He is being disingenuous. We have given the minister, we've said NYDA. In fact, now that you are here, Mr. Wasim Karim, we're saying 7 days for you, my good sir. Starting from last week Friday, you must publish the names of all of the people who have worked in that agency between 2009 to date. You can get us that information, give us that information. Let's see, in fact, who has been benefiting from the agency directly. Give us the names of all of the directors of the ANC, of the NYDA, because we know, my good man, that the bulk of them, since 2009 to date, have been ANC Youth League senior office bearers or people from their alliance partners. All of your chairpersons have been senior ANC Youth League people. We're saying that it's not an issue. Our issue is not with the ANC Youth League in and of itself. Our issue is the fact that this agency is supposed to benefit all of us as young people. Now, I today might apply, and I might not get it. But you as another young person who is not aligned to the ANC or what have you, ought to be able to be in a position to get support.
Right, gentlemen,
and we're not doing that.
We're out of
it's
time.
not happening.
Sabelo, we're out of time. Wasim, final comments. You've got 15 seconds.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I just advise Sabelo to calm down a little bit, And my initial offer stands. I invite Sabelo to come and engage the NYDA, to participate in the processes so that he understands better and to raise these concerns rather than these political stunts of
Michelle, that is deeply offensive. You cannot tell us that we have not read any of these things. The fact that you don't like our approach, the fact that you don't like what we propose is not something that we are going to be disputing here today.
That is all the time we have for this
You don't get to do that.
Wasim,
you don't get to do that.
Karim and Sabelo. Sabelo Chafulu is with Action SA, is with the Youth Advisory Council. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, it is election season in South Africa. The discussion this morning, the importance of the NYDA. Is it benefiting only an elite number of the politically connected, or is it integral to answering the question of youth unemployment in our country? We'll have to bring it back to studio for another discussion. Thanks very much for coming in.